For so many years, he's been unstoppable for Liverpool, but after his latest outburst, has he now become unplayable? Mo Salah's comments and future high on the Stakehouse agenda this week, as well as previewing all upcoming 10 Premier League fixtures. I'm Conor McCabe, joined as ever by my co-host Lucas Dazinski. Lucas, wasn't the very best punting week for us. However, let's not worry about the losses and let's focus on the wins. We did tip up one correct scoreline, or in other words, I did, which was Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1. That landed at 7.6. If punters had backed all of our tips with the same stake, they still would have ended in profit. Having said that, let's see if we can find them a few more winners this week. We're launching straight in with Chelsea versus Everton on Saturday. What is your model saying for this one?
I got Chelsea as favourites here, to be honest. I think the market's probably more or less where it should be. Got Chelsea 0.6 goals better. I expect them to win it. I know Chelsea have been a bit mixed bag lately, but playing at home, I expect them to win this game.
Okay, lovely to have a disagreement straight off the bounce. I am putting up. I'm putting up Everton.
Everton
as an official tip. Yeah, they currently sit on the exchange as I look at it right now at 5.5. Chelsea have been slippery. They've been taken apart in the last couple of games, particularly abroad. Losing 2-1 at Atalanta was a bad result. They have also history in these types of games this season, going down 3-1 at home to Brighton, going down 2-1, I believe, at home to Sunderland. When it's these kind of teams that are willing to sit in and get after them on the break and, try and pick their moments. I'm not saying definitely, but I think Everton, looking at a price of 5.5, is a shout. If you want to play a little bit safer, you can look at them on the Asian handicap at plus 0.75, which is coming in at odds at 2.04. But some of us like to walk on the wild side, so I'm putting up the official tip of Everton to win at 5.5. Let's we talked about Chelsea's weaknesses. Looking at Everton's strengths, they've got players like Ndiaye, Grealish on the break who can cause a lot of damage. Dewsbury Hall has come into his own in recent weeks. He looks a really solid player. There's a lot to like about Everton. There really, really is, and I just think they're underpriced here. Let's move on and talk about our next fixture, which is Liverpool versus Brighton. I alluded to him at the start of the show. Mo Salah, his comments, the whole situation. Give us your take.
I just feel like first of all, he's got a bit of history, right? He's kicked off against Klopp before in the past. I feel like no player is bigger than the club, and I feel like the way he reacted is quite immature. It's something you'd expect from, like, I don't know, Balotelli to do, right? I mean, I don't think even he would come out with that kind of stuff. It's a shame. It's a real shame. He's obviously a club legend, but he's kind of tainted his reputation. Carragher's gone in quite hard on him as well.
Yep.
And then, getting left out of the squad. Look, they went to... who did they play the other day? Anyway, they travelled... they're Inter Milan, right? They went to Inter Milan. And their bench was... They had kids on. So they literally would rather have kids and not a full bench than have Salah travelling. That's how bad it is.
Well, he played himself out of contention for that game with his speed.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Yeah. Of course. But look, like they've taken him out of the squad completely. He uploaded a photo of him just in the gym on his own as well. Like, I mean, I think that's done. I think he's never going to play for Liverpool again.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I don't dispute anything you said. In terms of Salah, I agree his comments were over the top. They weren't right. It wasn't done in the right way. Completely get all of that. I think that's kind of broadly agreed by everybody, right? I don't think there's any dispute on that. I guess the other only tiny thing I'm trying to work out is why it happened. Why did it get to the level where Salah felt like he had to do this, right? And obviously I stick up for Arne Slot quite a lot. Like a few weeks ago when we were talking about him maybe getting sacked, I said I thought that was totally incorrect. And I still think that. But I do think he has to look at the way that he's handled this situation as well, right? Very, very clear. Salah is not part of his plans, right? He has no interest in building a Liverpool team around Salah. He sees Salah as the past and he's looking towards the future.
He gave him a chance. I mean, Salah was starting every game for the first
fine,
10 odd games, right?
He was, but the penny's now dropped, right? Which is why he's been left out 3 games in a row before Salah's outburst. right? So he tried to blame it on rotation and all of these things. And if he's kind of,
Well, you don't know. Maybe Salah was kicking off and training to him before that, right? Maybe that's why he got dropped in the first place. You never know.
potentially, but ultimately, Salah likes to do these things in public. It's all
Yeah.
calculated. It's all planned with the agent. So I don't imagine and envisage that was the case. Like ultimately, and Slot again could have made noise about that if he'd wanted to and pointed to discipline, but he didn't do that. He simply dropped him 3 games in a row and put it down to rotation, which just isn't the case, because if you're rotating, you don't leave somebody out 3 games in a row. What Slot clearly didn't do was communicate. You look at what Salah said in his comments. He's like, I have no relationship with the manager. I have no idea why I'm being left out. These were the comments that he said.
Yeah, so, but is it true though?
Well,
there's always two sides of the story. Always.
Of course there is, but Slot hasn't actually disputed that point. He's not come back and said that's rubbish. I did tell Mo he wouldn't be playing. Man, I've explained to him why. There was none of that. It's just vague. Oh, it's rotation kind of rubbish, to be completely honest, because he's just not interested in playing Salah. I'm not on Mo Salah's side, right? But I'm just saying you have to communicate properly. If Slot looks at Salah now, as he clearly does, because he's left him out 3 games in a row, and he's like, "You're not for me," have the balls just tell him.
Maybe he did. Maybe Salah's talking rubbish, and
but then,
maybe
but then disagree.
Yeah, but then well, no, because Slot could be the bigger man, right? And this is a conversation. Like, I'm not going to stoop. Yeah, no. He's like, I'm not going to stoop to your level. I'm not going to counter it. I'm just going to crack on with it.
I just don't think that's.
I don't know. I feel.
Or players might have said something, or something. Someone might have said something. Like ultimately, for me, I don't think Slot's been open and honest with Salah, and that's what's caused this and prompted this. I genuinely believe that. And ultimately, I'll give you a similar situation, right? When Brendan Rodgers came in at Liverpool all those years ago and Steven Gerrard was getting to the twilight of his career, right? That's a similar player, similar prestige. Obviously, Gerrard is Liverpool born and bred, so you could argue he had even more prestige. But basically, Rodgers pulled him aside straight away and basically had a conversation with Gerrard, said, look, we need to manage your game time. And that was what happened. Gerrard didn't love it, but the sense was that he respected the honesty and the openness, and Gerrard went off and found a new club and did what he did in his career, and Liverpool moved on. I think that same level of communication from manager to player didn't happen here. From what Salah's saying, I don't believe it's all trumped up lies. I think what you said at the start was bang on. This is an immature situation with a kid who's chucked his toys out the pram. It's not the case of somebody who's thought, I'm going to come in and entirely lie about the situation as it is. Again, Salah hasn't acted correctly, but I'm just saying that Slot risked this situation with his handling of it. He left him out 3 games in a row, blaming on rotation when he's obviously got no interest in playing it. Anyway, what's next? Go on, sorry.
Yeah, just to summarise, I don't fully agree with that because you don't know if Salah's saying the truth or not. You want to believe him. You want to believe him, but he could easily be making this stuff up.
But why? What's in it?
But why not? I mean, if you're doing childish outbursts like that, he's a professional player. He's like in his mid-30s. He should know better than go out in the press like that, right?
Of course he should know better, but
Yeah.
if he's going to do this, right, he's doing it out of pure frustration because he feels like he's been mistreated.
He's immature.
He's not immature. Completely agree, but he's not acting, is he?
Yeah, well, maybe he is.
real-
If he's this immature, you couldn't put it past him, right?
But you're getting the real Mo Salah there. He is quite an immature person, and that's where he's just unloaded there. It's like all of us do from time to time when we're just frustrated. He's just unloaded with how he actually feels about the situation. I don't believe he's gone to his agent and gone, listen, this is what Arne Slot's told me. I'm really pissed off. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lie about the situation in a post-match interview, even though there's a ton of players that could call me out on it, and all of this sort of stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't.
You could do it to try turn everyone against Slot, right?
Yeah, but that's a ridiculous stupid plan, because that's backfired. All the supporters with Arne Slot now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go.
So for
Heat of the moment, people don't think about these things, right?
Exactly that. Heat of the moment, not calculated, not lying, not scheming, frustrated at the situation and the way it is.
Could be lying. Well, we'll never know. In 15 years' time, someone's going to bring a book out and we'll find out.
I'm going to
find out the truth. But
I'll bookmark this episode and put it back in your face. Let's talk about where's he going to go? Saudi?
Yeah, I mean that's the only place, right? There's nowhere else.
I think so. He's. I
Right.
think he. I think he would go to another Premier League club. Actually, I think he's got that in him. But I don't think
Nah.
any Premier League club would take a punt on him with the money that will be involved in him now. What about the game, Liverpool Brighton?
Look, I feel like my model has Liverpool favourites here, so I expect them to win this. But I think it'll be a close game. You never know with Liverpool who's going to turn up, what kind of team's going to turn up. They've been really sketchy. Equally, Brighton haven't been great, to be honest. But playing at home, I feel like Liverpool should probably win this game.
Yeah, I mean this game absolutely stinks goals. I don't know which way it's going to go.
Liverpool
but
1.7 feels a bit short, but
That's too short. It's definitely too
I
short.
don't know. I got the market more or less there, to be honest.
Brighton aren't doing badly. They're where they are for a reason. They're playing well. I think that
They're not doing badly, but they've had some random stinker games, right?
Liverpool are also
Couldn't
playing.
be last two home games. Didn't win either of them, right? They were
Liverpool
2-0 up against Villa. 2-0 up and they bottled it.
Yeah, but ultimately they're still
Couldn't beat
where
West Ham at home.
they're still where they are, fifth, sixth, whatever it is, and they're still.
Yeah.
The performance suggests they should be there. They're outperforming Liverpool in whichever way you want to look at it. For me, I'm not touching Liverpool at 1.7 with a barge pull here, but I do. If you want to look at a bet, I like the both teams to score and over 2.5 angle. I'm not sure the price stacks up in terms of making it official, but I wouldn't be surprised with a 2-2 here or a 3-2 either way, something like that. But this game screams goals. Liverpool are going to go out, try and play on the front foot, probably start Ekatike and Isaac. Brighton again on a really good side going forward. I just think this is goals galore, this game. Let's talk about Burnley versus Fulham. I'll kick off. I just don't rate Burnley's chances at all of staying up. I think they're going to finish in the bottom two. Again, their XG is really worrying. They're underperforming. Should have been able to get a little bit more against Palace. And against the Fulham side, I think Fulham would be desperately disappointed again to lose to Palace as well at home when they got back into the game. So I strongly fancy Fulham to go away. We're not willing to make it official at even money. I think the price is skinny, but Fulham should get it done, right?
I got Fulham slightly better, 0.3 goals. So yeah, could easily be a draw, to be honest.
Fair enough.
No bet for me, to be honest. No.
Okay. Let's talk about Arsenal Wolves. I mean, watching Wolves against United, it's just like Arsenal. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but Arsenal at 1.15 might be value. I mean,
Yeah, I haven't seen a price. I can't remember last time I've seen a. I mean, there has probably been a price this short, probably last season at some point. But this is the price that I can think of the shortest I've seen, where Wolves are 20 to 1 to win it.
yeah, it's for a
I mean, that's
reason.
value. No, I'm joking.
No, it's definitely.
To be
not.
honest, a few weeks ago, I'd be saying potentially. I did call it wrong. I said I think the Wolves are going to turn it around and eventually start scoring some goals and playing better. But I think after watching the United game, I think that's my hopes of backing them over.
Faded. I mean,
It's a shame. It's a shame because I did back them against Forest and Villa, and I feel like against Villa they played okay, and they should have
Didn't get
maybe
the
got something out of it.
didn't get the results.
And
Confidence
then
has not gone.
yeah, now they've just
New manager bounces over. They didn't know whether to attack or defend against United. There was very little cohesion. The fans have lost any interest. Did you see your lad at Molyneux sat with his back to the game for like 20 minutes?
yeah.
Sky Sports kept checking back in on him. It was brilliant. They've just got absolutely no hope with the Emirates.
I mean, they're not going to sign anyone either in January, right? Because the owners
Or they'll start prepping for the championship, right? It's whether or not they beat Derby County's record now, because they're not staying up. So I think if it was up to me, it's probably something like 2-0 Arsenal or something like this. But no bet for me in this game. West Ham versus Aston Villa.
I think there's a bit of value on West Ham.
Really?
West Ham, not enough value to make it official, but West Ham will draw. I think there's a bit of value. Look, Villa have been getting some results recently. They've been played some really good games. So maybe they have turned a corner. So like if you look at expected points, they actually should be 16th. But look, the first half of the season they were pretty rubbish, and now they're kind of maybe going back to their best. So I guess that's going to take a bit of time to catch up. But look, West Ham have potentially turned the corner. So I feel like this could be a tight game, and it could well end in a draw. So that if I've had to put a bet on, I'd probably put West Ham will draw out 1.84.
Fair. And look, I mean, with Villa, I think this is a classic case of why we obviously have particularly with your model, you have a very data-driven approach. But I think that the eye test has to stack up as well. And
Yeah.
Villa, I mean, I've been jumping on the bandwagon of, their overperformance. But watching them against Arsenal, I was just like, wow. I was really taken aback. I thought, wow, it's the first time I've seen them actually in 90 minutes for a little while. They were brilliant against Arsenal. Make no mistake, forget the XG of that game. I think Arsenal shaded it. But they were brilliant. Like, they dominated the midfield battle. Rice, Zubamendi, taken apart by the likes of Camara, the likes of Tielemans, the other players that they had in there. They were battering Arsenal for a lot of that second half. And it was 1-1, but there was only one side. And Arsenal had a couple of chances, but there's still only one side that you felt like that was truly going to go on and win that game. And it was Aston Villa. And nobody all season has done that to Arsenal. I know they lost to Liverpool, but apart from the Szoboszlai wonder strike, they looked pretty in control there. Nobody actually played Arsenal like that this season. Villa were brilliant, and I can actually now understand, despite the overperformance, why they are where they are. For me, wouldn't touch this game, but would not be surprised if we saw an away win.
Yeah. Look, Villa playing away at Basel on Thursday, so
yeah, which one?
Bit of advantage to West Ham, but yeah, I agree. Like it could go either way. I could see West Ham getting a draw. I could see Villa winning. I think might be a decent game to watch this.
Yep, agree. Let's talk about Sunderland versus Newcastle. We have a northeast derby again, which is great news, particularly if you're a Mackem. What are you thinking for this one?
It's hard to tell. I feel like in massive derbies like this, kind of form kind of goes out the window sometimes, I'd say.
Yeah.
Sunderland have been like really good at home, been massively underperforming, whereas Newcastle have been terrible away, but in the last few away games they've actually been playing okay, getting some results. Most notably against Everton when they completely smashed them. What was it, 3-0, whatever it was, or even something like that. So I think it's going to be a really tight game. I actually have Newcastle 0.44 goals better, but I think this will probably be a draw.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't actually think Newcastle win this game. I think it'd be a draw or a narrow Sunderland win, actually, is what I think. But if I'm looking for a betting angle on this one, I wouldn't actually be looking at the result. I wouldn't be looking at goals. I'd probably be looking at cards. Have a look at the cards markets on here, because that Sunderland crowd will be fired up. The Sunderland players will be flying into challenges early. Granit Xhaka, Siddiqui, the two players in the centre of the Sunderland midfield, are absolutely renowned for picking up cards. They've each had at least 3 or 4 this season minimum. One of them to get booked in this game is almost a guarantee. And don't be afraid to look a little bit further in terms of the prices, because they'll be the two most popular. Or even looking at the overall game, if you want to go over 50 booking points and things like that, I think that those markets should do well, because Newcastle don't shy away from an intense atmosphere. They will meet fire with fire. I think there'll be more cards and there will be goals in this one as well. So that's my little bit of insight in terms of that. Let's talk about Palace versus Man City, because we have disagreement here, don't we?
Yes and no. No, on paper, I think there's some good value on Palace, but like they're playing away to, was it? They're playing away on Thursday.
In the Conference League, yeah.
Yeah, Conference League. So really short turnaround again. Munoz needs surgery now, so he's going to be out for a few weeks, and he's one of their best players that they have, right? Both attacking and defensively, especially attacking. Mateta's been rested; he's not travelled, but the squad's really, really short now. And if they get one or two injuries on Thursday, I don't want to say the season's going to be over, but if it's one or two key players, it could come spiraling down. So, see it playing today. So, recording this on a Wednesday, so they got quite a few extra days to recover. So, I would usually, if there was no conference game, I'd be back in Palace here without a shadow of a doubt. But the short turnaround, doing it like week in, week out, it's going to take its toll, and it could be this game. So I'm not really comfortable with backing them, to be honest. But like I said, if it wasn't a Conference League game, then I would be backing them plus a half.
Okay. That's what the model is saying. So for those of you who like to follow it, that is still one to consider. For me, I'm going the other way entirely. I'm backing City at the price of 1.92, 1.91 on the exchanges. The fact that Palace are fourth in the league is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and that player, that manager, those group of players deserve so much credit. It is unreal what they are doing. There's literally, because once we get past the first 11, the squad doesn't stack up. Those first 11 players are running themselves into the ground, and the burnout is inevitable here, absolutely inevitable. And said all along, Palace have been let down by their owners. In terms of starting off by the fact that they couldn't even get into the Europa League because there wasn't enough faith from their owner, who manages another club in there, who allowed that situation to emerge, and then not even backing Glasner in the summer, just to rub salt into the wounds, even though they're competing on so many fronts. They're still in the League Cup. They've got an FA Cup run to come. It's just ridiculous. Like, they need to go out and buy minimum 5-6 players this January transfer window if they want to stay remotely competitive, because otherwise
if they want to keep Glasner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Glasner should leave. Like, sorry, Palace fans, but I don't think the club match your manager's ambition. Simple as that. I don't see, and unless they go out and spend ridiculous money, I just see Palace falling sharply. City have got Madrid tonight, which is not necessarily ideal preparation for a trip to Selhurst Park. But City starting to come good. Foden looks like he's back to the form of 2 years ago. Jeremy Doku has a new lease of life. They've got lots of options there. Selhurst Park is a bit of a tight pitch. It looks like Ismaila Sarr will still be out, right? That's a massive blow for Palace, and that's definitely something that leaves me more confident, because he's a player on the break I'd be very worried about. Sorry, go on.
I said the only thing that helps Palace in a way is they are playing against Shelbourne, so the Irish team. So I'd imagine it is away, short flight or whatever, but I'd imagine they will be. I mean, they got a small squad as it is, but I'd imagine they'll be playing quite a few kids.
Mate, a short flight, right? But that little one across the Irish Sea this time of year,
Dinghy.
Those Palace players will be walking sideways for a week, mate. The turbulence they'll get on that plane. Don't you worry about that. But look, I'm putting up. I get all that. I take it into account, but I just think City's squad, City's resources. I think 1.91 is fair. So that's an official tip for you guys. Let's talk about Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. What's your thoughts?
I went to the game.
We could call it the Ange Postecoglou derby, couldn't we?
Yeah, I went to the game on Saturday. I was bitterly disappointed with Brentford's performance. We were just really, really bad.
How did Spurs look?
I don't know if we made them look good. I think it's more that the goals they scored was pretty poor from us, I'd say. I feel like that they could have, maybe they've turned a corner. They won midweek against Slavia Prague at home quite comfortably, 3-0. Perhaps they turned a corner. Saying that, I still got Forest as slight favourites. Slightly better, like 0.3 goals better than Tottenham. So I expect it to be quite a close game. I think the market's more or less where it should be. If anything, there's probably some small value on Forest. So yeah, I expect it to be a tight game, maybe a draw.
Cool. I actually think that Forest will probably win this game. Tottenham obviously got a good result against you boys, but it's kind of the only one they've had recently. I still don't think there's enough faith in Thomas Frank. I guess the only thing that I would mention is Xavi Simons. Looks like he is starting to finally come into a bit of form, which is ideal for them. But I think there's enough to get behind Forest here at 2.68. I don't mind that price in terms of their home game, and we know how important their home form will be to them. I quite like the narrow Forest win here. If you wanted to play Forest, by the way, probably back it with the unders, Forest at under 3.5 or something like that, because that'll add a nice little dimension to the price, because Forest ain't going to win this game 3-2, right? They're going to win this game 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. So, get maybe Forest and under 3.5 or under 4.5 goals you can combine. Let's talk about Brentford. They've just been mentioning them there. Brentford versus Leeds. Probably not a great time to play Leeds, to be honest.
Yeah, coming back after that game, Spurs. Honestly, it was probably the worst Brentford's performance I've seen in a very long time for a number of seasons in the Premier League. Now, honestly, it was really bad. Saying that, we're a different beast at home, and I feel like look. We're priced at evens at the moment to win the game, and I feel like there's probably a small bit of value here. Like, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this week I don't see that much value in the market. And I'll say this before, right? The whole point for us is to find value, not to play just to find a bet, just to place a bet for the sake of it, right? So, like, if I was going to pick a team to win this or a result, it'd be a Brentford win. But I wouldn't put any money on it at the moment.
Sometimes the best bet is the one that you don't make, right? So completely get that premise. We obviously want to tip quality. But in terms of this game, like, the only thing I would say in contrast to a Brentford win is, you know, what you were telling me about the atmosphere in there. Not that it was completely toxic, but it was potentially threatening to do so. Let's supposing Brentford don't start this game on firing on all cylinders. Could it become a little bit toxic in the GTEC? That's just something to bear in mind.
Potentially.
So that's something to keep in mind as well. Leeds have just had a couple of great results, right?
Yeah.
To take 4 points.
They'll be pumping for this.
They will be buzzing. I think.
And look, all the pressure's on Brentford, right? To win.
Yeah, for me, I just think Brentford are under even money. Brentford at odds on here is just a bit short, actually. So it's not one personally that I would be all over. I think Brentford will win, but it wouldn't be a bet for me either. Let's talk about the final game, which is United-Bournemouth. Just quickly on United, I think that obviously we didn't have any opposition in Wolves, so taking the fact that we scored as many as we did in that game is something that we should basically forget about pretty quickly, or it was a nice morale boost. But one player that did catch the eye was Mason Mount. He was absolutely incredible. Like, obviously a lot's been made of the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo, and I actually think they've probably received a bit more praise than they deserve. Mbeumo has looked very good in parts, and I think he will continue to improve, but I'd probably rate him as okay so far. He's not hit the heights that he's hit playing for Brentford, without a shadow of a doubt. He's definitely looked better in a Brentford shirt thus far, but deserves more time. His appetite's there, and I think I've got no doubt he'll come good. Cunha, again, should also come good. He's obviously a world-class player, but it's 1 goal in 9 games, I think. And even when we scored 4, he didn't look remotely like scoring against Wolves. He fired off 8 shots, but his decision-making wasn't always great. And the only time he didn't shoot was the time when he should have, when he gave a really weird, flaky pass to Bruno for the first goal, and Bruno worked miracles to score off the back of a bit of a dodgy back heel flick kind of thing from Cunha. And I was just like, where's the appetite there? Because I felt like he should have gone on and shot himself. He's got work to do still. People are letting him off a little bit, because I'm expecting a bit more than we've seen so far from Matheus Cunha. So to see Mount come in the number 10 role and play his socks off, like spread the ball, use it really well, working in really nice tandem with Bruno, just a bit higher up the pitch. I actually think Mount has to be, provided he can stay fit, I think he has to be a pretty early choice on the team sheet. I really do. There's a player there that we've all forgotten about, and I'm excited to see what sort of season he can have if he stays fit. In terms of this game, United are short, aren't they? I mean, as usual, the markets usually have them short, 1.88. Bournemouth haven't looked brilliant of late, but I don't see how you can back United at 1.88 against Bournemouth. United seems to be doing better away from home as well than at Old Trafford. Probably, if I'm going to tip a result here, it's probably a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, don't blame you, to be honest. Got nothing to add.
Okay. There you have it. Let's recap. So nothing official from you this week.
Nah, nothing official. But if I was gonna, if I wanted to have a punt, I'd be going on Palace plus a half, West Ham plus a half, and Brentford win.
All right. So there's 3 selections that you might be able to combine into a nice 6-7 to 1 ACCA. From my perspective, I am looking at Everton officially at 5.5 to win away at Chelsea, although I would not blame you for taking them on the handicap market at 2.04 for plus 0.75. I'm also tipping up Man City at 1.91 away at Palace. So just 2 bets from me this week. So a little bit of a lower number in terms of, again, hopefully churning out that quality to make sure that we get a few wins, but coming into a hectic Christmas period, so lots of football on the horizon, lots to look forward to. Go well if you are having a punt, and go safe, and enjoy the football and take care of yourselves.
Cheers.